Hello everyone, I've been playing Elite Dangerous on and off for years and there's a lot about it that I love. Plotting routes, hurtling through space, World War II style pew-pew battles, trading, finding resources, the one-to-one model of the galaxy with a vastness that confirms the external insignificance of one's existence, the sheer beauty one sometimes encounters and the sense of freedom all of the aforementioned grants to the player. I love this game. However, the purpose of this video is not to eulogise everything Elite Dangerous. You, dear viewer, are not about to enter the promised galaxy where the purity of the synthocane is only rivaled by the intensity of the soapy tentacle wanks. Quite the contrary, dear viewer. In this video I intend to discuss the galaxy we find ourselves inhabiting, caught between a landfill, sewage treatment facility and a campsite, where every step presents the choice between pavement pizza and used syringe, and every countenance of every person yells, "What the fuck are you looking at?" Back in 3301, when he was a young naive cadet filled with optimistic wonder, Commander Lao B, having sampled the pleasures surrounding LHS 3447, decided the first thing he wanted to do was explore. Now, the last things young Commander Lao B wanted to do back then was theorycraft and min-max, spending time swimming through the arse gravy of websites trying to find nutritious nuggets of sweet corn truth. There was no way he was going to waste his time with that stuff. There was a whole galaxy to explore. You see, dear viewer, before he became Space Commander Lao B, searcher of anomalous signals and scourge of space punishment midgets, in another life on the planet of Azeroth he was fearless warrior Lao B, sneaky rogue Lao B, and pungent Death Knight Lao B, and there was no way he was going to get sucked into a puddle of rancid spunk like that ever again. So he packed up his ship, headed out of the bubble into the black void. That was a different Lao B, full of wonder, innocence and joy, and not the cynical shell presenting this video. When I started exploring the galaxy I was well aware of the ranking system, but just not sure how it worked. As I charted new star systems, planets and moons, I was under the misguided idea that every scam was another stroke of the chisel slowly turning that hunk of nondescript rock into the coveted first elite ranking. I mean, I was exploring, discovering things, running out of fuel, getting rescued by the fuel rats, thank you guys, getting distracted, flying into suns, rinsing and repeating. On returning to stations to sell my copious amounts of data, I was slowly arriving at a rather unwelcome realisation. That fucking little bar was moving the length of an amoeba's cock. So if exploring wasn't improving my exploration ranking, what the fuck was I doing wrong? Well, dear viewer, it turns out that in the Milky Way one doesn't simply just become an elite explorer by simply exploring. By way of analogy, please allow me to tell you the tale of two Brians. Brian Blessed and Brian the bus driver from Bridlington. On the left we have the great Brian Blessed. We're not going to discuss his many acting roles or his wonderfully resonant voice. No, for the purposes of this video we're far more interested in his indomitable quest for adventure and exploration. Brian holds the record for being the oldest man to reach the magnetic North Pole on foot. He's explored jungles, survived a plane crash, has undergone astronaut training, explored the Gobi Desert, and climbed some of the highest peaks in the world, including an attempt on Everest without supplemental oxygen where he reached 28,200 feet. On the right we have Brian the bus driver from Bridlington. He likes tea, digestive biscuits, and his birthday's where his wife of 40 years, Doris, cooks his favourite meal and lets him use the tradesman's entrance. However, it's not Brian's love of steak, onions and anal that interests us, it's his credentials as an explorer. 3 times a day, 5 days a week, 46 weeks a year, for the last 42 years Brian, with a bus full of passengers, has driven the 90-kilometre round trip between Bridlington and Pocklington. He takes his annual holiday in Scarborough, just 20 kilometres north of Bridlington, and he has never been outside his home county of Yorkshire, as he believes the rest of the world to be filled with, in his words, soft southern pufters. So who's the most accomplished explorer? Due to my obvious admiration and bias towards Brian Blessed, he's the voice of my ship's computer after all most of the time, we'll let David Braben and the Elite Dangerous team adjudicate according to their impartial rules. And the most accomplished explorer is... Brian the bus driver from Bridlington. What the fuck? How the fuck? Well, we calculated the mileage and bus fares. You fucking what? We multiplied the... I know how fucking multiplication works. I just don't know how you arrived at that. Well, 90 kilometre per trip, by 3, by 5, by 46, by 42, that's 2,608,200 kilometres. Then we had all the bus fares, so he's the greatest explorer named Brian. What? The most exotic thing he ever saw was that time Mrs. Hilda Pisselthwaite had an embarrassing accident and took a prodigiously watery shite on the backseat of the bus after a dodgy chicken pakora. And I'm sorry to say, ladies and gentlemen, that is how exploration seems to work in Elite Dangerous. They just add up the mileage and commission like a fucking dodgy photocopier sales rep. A while back, when I found myself with a little time, I decided to work on getting at least one elite ranking. On Googling, I discovered that all one had to do to become an elite explorer, and fabulously wealthy to boot, is to buy a Python or the biggest medium ship you can afford, kit it out with passenger compartments, strip out everything else to make it fuel efficient, travel to Rubigo Mines, and kiss goodbye to one's dignity. Goodbye, swashbuckling Commander Laobi, hello, space bus driver Laobi. You arrive at Rubigo Mines, fuel up, check the missions board, only taking missions to the aptly named So This. As in, so this is what my miserable fucking existence has come to. You load up, plot your route, make your jumps, go to the nav beacon, avoiding the rancid smegma slurping griefers. After 1 second, the passengers say, "Oh, that's lovely, I want to go home." Jump back to Rubigo Mines, rinse, repeat, piss in a bottle, So This, podcast, nav beacon, adult diapers, another bottle of piss, don't worry my love, you can just vacuum around me, Rubigo Mines, liquidized lunch, now I can shit in the same bottle, podcast, So This, nav beacon, and on it goes. At the end of about at least 20 hours, you'll have billions in the bank and will have somehow gained elite rank in exploration. Times and recompense may vary as the game rolls myriad invisible die every time you land. Sometimes a quick relog can substantially improve your offers on the jobs board. Now how the fuck can this be called exploration? Naturally, your first visit will be a new discovery, but driving a space bus endlessly between the same 2 points could hardly be described as exploration, unless one of the stops is an unfucking feasibly well-appointed poon palace for your spacecock to explore. Now I enjoy the sudden wealth, but this couldn't, by any stretch of even the dullest imagination of the most agoraphobic fucking hobbit, be called exploration. It's a transaction, you're swapping time, space, fuel and effort for currency. It's a function of fucking trade, not exploration. Exploration can lead to serendipitous trade events, natural resources, new trade routes, or one could happen upon a planet of gobshites whose religious duty it is to suck off every stranger they encounter. Off to the holy space brothels of Orion for you lot. Reverend Laobi has arrived. It seems in Elite Dangerous that exploration is merely a function of trade and distance travelled. Sure, you can explore new worlds and go where no bellend has gone before, but your recognition is going to pale into insignificance in comparison to the plaudits heaped upon Brian the bus driver from fucking Bridlington. There's no thought, ingenuity or adventure. It's taking one of the most tedious tasks on the planet and making it fucking galactic. Then to top it all off, they patronise the poor cunt who has to do it to keep himself in steak, onions and Doris by calling him an explorer. Now, I'm not just some cockhound who finds his pleasure in poking holes in things and finding problems. Well, I am. But this time I'll offer a little advice. This is something that's easy to fix. It requires no expertise and very little expense. The fact that it's like this stands as a galactic monument to the sheer fucking laziness of frontier devs. How about, now hear me out on this, that advancement in the explorer rank be linked to something other than a function of trade? I don't know, something like maybe fucking exploration. How about making it so one has to be the first to discover systems? The further out the system, the greater the progression. How about on top of that linking it to something like finding new routes or crossing the galaxy? Something that actually means something. Something with a degree of difficulty. Something that requires dedication, organisation, and a little more ability than face rolling the same journey a couple of 100 times. It's a pity most of the hard work has been done. There's a one-to-one Milky Way, stars, systems, planets, stations, ships, and pretty much everything one could imagine. Everything except the ability of Frontier to look at anything beyond cookie-cutter MMO gameplay. Whether it's through sheer hubris or an acute fucking phobia of success, they seem unable to take care of what one would imagine are the most logical elements. It's like an unbelievably talented sprinter who insists on running with his fucking laces open. This is an amazing game, as I said at the start, I love it and have put many hours into it. But it is very difficult watching a company repeatedly fall over while trying to kick itself in the fucking testicles. Now, I'm not saying that Frontier devs should listen and cater to every whim of the great unwashed. In general, people are fuckwits, and if one wants to increase the retardation of a group, all one usually has to do is increase its size. But I am saying they should listen to me, because exploration is currently fucked. In the future of this series I will be taking a look at Odyssey. But first I want to examine the base game, and the elements I feel could do with some refinement. Speaking of refinement, I thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to dislike or tell me to go fuck myself below.